You and I with Rashmi Shetty is a human library audio podcast bringing in stories of people you and I can draw inspiration from. Welcome to the third season of this amazing story listening journey. Ordinary folks, extraordinary lives, their uniqueness and individuality, making them interesting to talk to and to listen to, each one of them completely connected to the voice in me and with motivational stories of moving beyond themselves to make a difference in the world. A reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. Our guest this week is the inspirational co-founder and CEO of Avasarshala, Ashwathy Venugopal. She's a TEDx speaker and a social entrepreneur. Ashwathy is the leadership board member at Kectil International Youth Leadership USA and an advisory board member at Vignan Technology Business Incubator, India. She is one of the 75 women founders featured in the 75 Womenpreneurs of India 2022, released by the Atal Innovation Mission, Government of India. She has been recognized among top 5 social innovators from India and the People's Choice Awardee at the Youth CoLab India 2020 by UNDP. Ashwathy is the former curator of the Global Shaper Community Trivandrum Hub, an initiative of the World Economic Forum. She's also been recognized as the WEDU Asian Rising Star for 2020, Vital Voices Grow Fellow 2020, and the Youth IGF India 2020 Fellow. A public speaker and a thought leader, Ashwathy is the recipient of the Eastern Bhoomika Iconic Women Awards 2020. Listen in as Ashwathy shares her journey, definitions of failure and success, and what it means to be an entrepreneur. Hi, Ashwathy. Welcome.
Hello.
You and I with Rashmi Shetty. This is a space where we're going to explore the uniqueness and individuality. And I have met you quite a few times. And I love the energy that you carry with you, the smile that is so readily shared. And the way you carry yourself is something that has always made me really think of you with a smile. I'm very curious what little Ashwathy was like. Was little Ashwathy the same as the Ashwathy Venugopal the world knows you today as? Energetic, happy, always looking for opportunity and making everyone around her positive?
Thank you so much, Rashmi. That was so kind of you to introduce me that way. And yes, I am aware of my smile, and I really like the fact that you noticed it, because you, as a person, you're always one person who carries a smile, and anyone who has met you knows that you have that radiant smile that seeps into everyone around you. So I'm happy that you see me at the same way. Thank you so much. Uh, Little Ashwati, as opposed to the Ashwati that you see today, did not carry an easy smile. It was not because of any traumatized background or anything. I think I have the most blessed childhood that anyone could ever hope for. I have loving parents, and I was living in a joint family. Grandparents, everyone showering all that was required at every stage in my life, just enough, because my father was a very disciplined person. While I was small, he is like, you do you. Now he has become more of a friend, and he has allowed me to do whatever I want right after I turned 80. But when I was a child, he was more of a strict parent, showing me different phases of life. He is a business person, so naturally I grew up in a business environment where highs were high, lows were very low, and we learned it together. And I never felt like I was a child. I was more like an adult. I'm a single girl child, and I don't think I ever got the kind of pampering that a single girl child usually gets, that people think they get. I was more like a third adult in their life, and we had that sort of bond which we still carry. Friends, very thick friends, which over the years I kind of grew to become more of a responsible adult, thinking that their life is my responsibility. So even today I'm like, When it comes to my parents, I'm like, hey, listen, I know what to do best. Just pause, I'll do it for you. So I'm a control freak that way. I was a very intuitive child, very intuitive, and I used to always observe people and have my own thoughts going on in my head. I was very silent, and I had a lot of comments about things. I had so many observations, very interesting things, which I shared only with my mother. She was my best friend. I did have a very good friend circle. Through my school, we had like seven member gang of friends. I have a best friend from my, like I met one of my friends when I was 2.5. I'm still good friends with her. I think she's one of my closest friends. Another I met when I was in my second standard. We're still best friends. So I think friends and everybody were around me all the time, but I still had this very silent nature where things that I observe, I think it was best shared with my mom than everybody else. So I would say an ambitious, intuitive, silent, but very capable and very smart. Everything. I was good at everything, but I always used to feel that my social skills were a little bad because I would think a lot of things in my mind. I would observe a lot, but I wouldn't speak up. I'll take my time to, like connect with people and I'll just be there. People used to think I'm a very guarded person. Everyone used to have very wrong judgments about me. Come 18, when I joined my engineering college, things just changed. I don't know what happened, like snap, and I became what I am right now. The college environment changed me so much. I met a lot of different people. I would say maybe from my school, all through my school years, I was 12 years, I met the same people. We were the same set of people. It was more like family to me. But suddenly, when I was put into a new environment in my college, things just changed. I became so happy, so vivacious, and I still feel my engineering college days, those 4 years were the best time of my life. My best, I mean, like nature wise, personality wise, everything changed during that time. I still think my ninth standard age, that is when I was 14, 13, 14, if I were the same today, I probably would have been not a favorite for everyone, but the best successful person ever. But yeah, it's better to stay this way, happy and
Yeah.
just, yeah.
So I'm curious, Ashwathy, before you joined engineering, today you're there on stage, you're very comfortable talking, public speaking. It doesn't matter who's in front of you. There's a very beautiful confidence that you exude when you speak. As a little girl who was in school, popular with groups of friends and friends that stayed with you all through school, where exactly were you brought up? Which city did you grow up in? And were you somebody who was into extracurricular or a nerdy first ranker in class, the teacher's pet?
I'm from Kerala, brought up completely in Cochin. So I think a very modern urban metro kind of outlook to life. I still want people around me, like my way of unwinding or my way of, getting some sort of energy is people energy. And I want to go to a mall and stand in the middle of it and just soak in strangers' energy. And that's my way. I don't like solitude. So yeah, that speaks a lot about me. But in school, I would say I was very ambitious. So more than anything, I had a lot of checklists and checklists as and I wanted to be the school head girl. We had this custom of having a boy as a house captain and a girl as a vice captain. I seriously did not like that, and I used to challenge it. And I would say, until the time that I was in the school, in the history of the school, I was the only female captain for a house. So yeah, I I had this whole set of checklists that I had to bucket list for my school life, which I diligently did and achieved. So I think my school days were all behind chasing these milestones and achievements. And I'm still very hard on myself, but I think as a school child, I was very hard on myself. I wouldn't compromise. If I think there is an award that I have to achieve, I will get that. And yes, extracurriculars, I was very active. I would be one of those prize winners in almost all category when it comes to oratory writing. I was there in a little bit of drama, music, karate. I was first prize winner for karate fighting. through the entire length of my schooling. I was there in kabaddi team, basketball team, not too good at sports, but just average. And I used to go for badminton coaching because I liked that, and we did not have it in school. It's just like I don't think I chased anything in terms of extracurriculars or academics, but it was more like some milestones I always wanted. Like I wanted to see myself on the stage. I wanted to wear those badges. So I would do anything to get that. Maybe everything else just convened because of my combined ambitions.
Oh, I love this. Okay, you were the only child, so clearly
Yes.
the rules at home were very clearly laid out for you. But
Yeah, that is right.
yeah, so from where did you draw this ambition, Ashwathy? Who were you competing with? Where did ambition come into your life, and what spurred that ambition?
My competition is myself. It still is, because I don't ever think I don't compare myself with anybody. I still don't. Even in my lows, even in my highs, I don't think anyone's life is better than mine or worse than mine. I'll quote Sushmita Sen here. I think I am self-centered. That I don't know how else to put it. In my life, in my purview, it's always me and the things that I think would look good in my kitty. So I wanted to be the house captain. I became the house captain. It was not because somebody else was a house captain before me. It was just something that I wanted to achieve, and I got that.
Okay.
Then there will be role models. Definitely, there will be people that you look up to, but it's not always like I want to be like that person. It's sometimes a combination of many things that I think would look, like would be best to experience. So I think I'm an experience junkie. It's. I mean, like, it was not about going on that stage as a house captain or a head girl and just soaking up the energy. It was just like an experience which I wanted to look back to. And right now I'm doing it in a different way. Back then it was that ambitions and me being the person that I am. I think all credit goes to my mom. She was a hands-on mom. She did not go for any work outside our house, but I think her whole life was me. Like, I also felt a little responsible to actually get all those things, because I am getting that agency, that sort of support system from back home. She would be the one. She's an English literature major, so she would teach me phonetics. She would teach me how to go and speak and, like, have the right diction and the right pronunciation. I picked all that from her. She would help me write my speeches initially, but then I think by second standard, I started writing my own speeches. Then she made me capable in all those ways. And then there would be lots of books that she would, read with me. She would show me Kiran Bedi. I still, this is one thing that we still talk about, how she would show me Kiran Bedi's photo, and she'd be like, "This is one of the most strongest females in India." Back then, she was the only strongest female that we could look up to.
Yeah.
And it was not like she asked me to become a police officer, but she would be like, "Be like her, be like that. Carve your space out there. You just imagine what you want to be. You can be anything." So I think she always showed me strong female examples, and and then she created a discipline in my life. 6 p.m. was study time. Until then, I could play, and I should play. I had my bicycle. I'll go out and ride and come back. Then from 6 to, I think, around 8 or 9, it was my study time. And I had TV shows that I would watch from 9 to 10, or everything and anything that falls from 9 to 10. I really did not have any restrictions. I think she put those restrictions when I was in my first standard, but then until my college, I used to carry the same discipline. So all thanks to her. But she always tells me, sometimes when she sees that I'm very hard on myself, she also feels a little guilty that maybe I did this to you. But yeah, I mean,
right or wrong,
that's
you
okay.
turned out right. So I think
That's okay. That's a good problem to have.
yeah. No, but if this was your childhood through school, what changed in college that you said you felt free?
I shouldn't say I felt free in a way that it makes it sound as if my school days were difficult. The thing is, somewhere between, maybe like when I turned into a teenager, 13 or so, we slowly start to rebel against these systems, right? Looking back, I feel like this was the best that could happen, because even when I am at my low and I think I'm losing control of stuff that I'm doing, I try to bring back the discipline. I would think like, what would my mom ask me to do if I was a child right now? So, we kind of want to go back to those days now. But when I'm a teenager, it was a little difficult. This is, but I think I acquired it. I grew into it. I did not really need my mom to be disciplining me by maybe like 11 or 12. I was disciplining myself. When I told I am my competition, I would say I am my own disciplinarian. My mom and dad, they had never had any sort of fixed ambitions for me. They were like, just, live your good life, be happy. That was all they used to tell me. But there was some certain sort of discipline that we should have in terms of finances. That was my dad's department. In terms of time management and being your own person was my mom's department. That is all. But by teenage, I think I just grew into being such a frigid disciplinarian for myself. I realized if I need to be head girl, I need to be doing these things. I need to, and I pushed myself into being such a go-getter by around 70. There were a lot of things I thought it was in my hands reach, and I'm going to get it now. But some stuff happened in my life, like my grandfather passed away suddenly. It was a quick loss for us, sudden loss for us, and it affected me in a very, very different way. Like my grades just plummeted from 90s. I was a just pass student, like 40 out of 100. I couldn't imagine. That was my 11th standard. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going into my board soon. And, being in my 90s and this A grader suddenly became a 40 out of 100 student. And I couldn't imagine that would happen in my life. But that was it. I mean, like some sort of, maybe I would look back to it and say it was a little bit of depression or something, but a lot of combination of stuff happened. We moved houses to be with my grandmother because she wanted that support back then. So my environment changed. I had to take close to 1.5 week leave from my school because we wanted to sort out stuff at home. That did not actually contribute to anything in my studies. But the thing is, in school, I suddenly lost a lot of opportunities. In that 1 week when I got back, I was not part of a lot of lists, like volunteering lists or leadership lists. I was not there. And some of the teachers, it was very hard to talk about this in a public platform. But yeah, there were some teachers who were unkind to me. In spite of being such an overachiever all through my school days, at that point, I saw myself not included in a lot of things. I've talked about this earlier also, but there were a lot of big, big achievements and milestones that I had my eyes set on. But that 1 week when I came back, I was excluded from a lot of things. And it felt really unkind and unfair. But that's life. I really faced life when I came back from that 1 week's leave. And I realized, like even after being so hard to myself, even after putting on such a lot of effort for these many years, I lost out on such very pivotal, opportunities of life just like that. So a lot of things are not in my control. So I think that is where the flip happened. I just switched off. I don't know why. Even my grades did not pick up too much, but I managed to have grades in my 90s in my 12th standard. I just started doing what was just enough. My entrance was one thing that was giving me such a lot of headache. The engineering entrance system in India is so bad, but that also contributed to a lot of mental strain. And when I was getting into my 18 age, or rather my 16, 17 was so dark, so difficult that when I was 18, I became more positive. Like I flipped out of those depressing days. I can still say that there was a bit of a depression, which which was undiagnosed and probably people didn't realize. A lot of things contributed to it. But when I was in my college, I felt very confident. It probably was not the best that I probably would have thought for myself, but it was enough. And I was like, fine, now I'm going to enjoy life. Now I'm just not going to have all those checklists. I'm just going to be like, even if nobody notices me, that's fine. I'm just going to enjoy. And it helped. That's what happened.
Honestly, from what you just shared, it seemed like you let go of that need for the
Oh,
spotlight.
yes. I just let go.
It's such a beautiful moment, Ashwathy, because letting go is very tough for somebody who wanted everything controlled and going as per plan. Now, when you let go and you saw how much you enjoyed it, what is it at the end of engineering that you gained? Because at the end of school, you had your checklist and bucket list all checked. And it was amazing that you achieved everything that you set out to achieve. But when you finished 4 years of engineering, and the most important lesson of letting go, what is it that you had checked for life when you left engineering college?
For me, I mean, letting go is not easy. As you said, it is not at all easy. And sometimes it's in your character to just hold on to stuff. So I would say right now, when after these almost 10 years, 10 to 12 years later, I also got into a phase where I was holding on to a lot of things. And I would say right now, today, when you're speaking, I am in that process of letting go again. I'm a little bit more free now. I'm a little bit more happier now. I probably wouldn't say the same about maybe a month back or so. If it's in your nature, you slip back into that soon. So it happens. It happens. And it's not easy. But during my engineering, what I realized is there are so many things that are around you which you can just pause and take note of and enjoy. In my school days, I used to be guilty about actually spending too much time whiling around. I would call it whiling around. But when I became in my college, there were so many things that I could actually do and still feel like I'm actually being productive. Going around with my friends, it did not feel like I was stealing away from my time to do something else. And I realized that you can even be a last minute study. I mean, like you can study in the last minute and still ace your exams. I realize there are so many hacks to life. I mean, I still scored so good, like in my marks department, I really had a very high score for my engineering. But I would say I was smart with my studies. I studied only things that would really make sense. I chose my subjects. The others I learned for the like because it was recommended, I did. But there were some areas that I wanted to go all out and explore a lot. So I became more of a learner. There were some subjects like Java and some technology stuff that was, I think it was not adequate in my college, so I went outside to study it in my hours after college. I think a lot of people did not do that in my college years. So I was the first one to get placed in my college too. Very good package. Everything was perfect. So what from my whole lesson from that 4 years is, even if I let go, even if I don't actually, give myself too much pressure, I still achieve things that are meant for me. I don't think there was anything more I could achieve in my college years. Those 4 years was fantastic. I've gained friends for life. I got the first placement ever that came to the campus. I think I even trained a lot of my friends to get their first placements. I think my teaching or becoming a teacher kind of started off there when they were relying on me. I would drive and go to school, college every day at 7 a.m. And they, all those people who did not know technology or computer science subjects, they would come at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I would teach them until I think around 8:30 or 9 until our classes started. I would go back into my class, and these people would call me teacher, teacher in the breaks. But I used to enjoy that, like I think a lot of people got their placements because of some of the things that I taught them. So those kind of things happened. I don't think I would have taken a pause or taken some time out if I was the same person I was in school. And I think I became more of a child when I was in my college than I was in my school days.
Wow, this is so beautiful. And the fact that you were giving without expecting anything in return was something
Yeah.
which I'm seeing in your story was the most beautiful part of it. And so here is Ashwati standing at the end of 4 years with the first one to be placed in college, a wonderful package. So you continued in Cochin, or was your placement outside?
Yeah, it's outside. It was outside. I had to move to Hyderabad. And that was the first time that my family had their reality check that I became an adult. So I had one full year until August 2013, and I joined in August 2014. And I got 1 year to fight with my dad. to tell him that it is more important for me to move out and go and join the job. I was like, no, no, no. You can always do something of your own. You can. Entrepreneurship is very good. Be an employer, not an employee.
That's what. So here you are with a package in hand, but today you're an entrepreneur who's inspiring so many people. That's where I was coming next. How did that flip happen again in your life, where what was set for something else turned out to be something else totally different?
So I wouldn't say that my flip happened very suddenly. I went to Hyderabad, took up my first job as a software engineer, enjoyed my job, worked for a couple of years. But I think what I was doing during my engineering days and what I actually started doing as a job as a software engineer was quite different. And slowly I stopped enjoying the coding part of it, but more like enjoying the service operations part of it. So inside my company, I was building technology products for service operations team, service operations team. And we had those days where we would release new updates and we would go and sit with them. We call it on the floor because, being with them and see if there are some failures in the updates that we have given, any new feedback that we should incorporate. So sitting around them, I started observing the proper maths side of operations. People don't realize this, but managers in the service operations industry, they actually calculate the time, this energy, a lot of things like occupancy, service level agreement, like when do you start creating service and when do you end, and how can we reduce the time gap. So there were a couple of managers who used to speak a lot about all these reports and charts, and seeing their excitement, I felt this is something I would enjoy doing. I really wanted to get into operations management to actually get my hands dirty with the proper maths part of it. So I quit and joined my MBA course. First rank holder at MBA too, but I think by now I started taking life very easy. I mean, it was like let it be, let it come and let it go that way, and I was like happy and just gliding through my MBA. This is one of the only courses that I would say I learned with so much zeal and passion, as well as ease. MBA is not that easy for everyone, but I think I was practically applying everything that I learned back into my things that I did while I was working, as well as what I've seen my dad do in his business. So I enjoyed it like anything, and I got placed at Amazon in service operations industry. That again, the first placement in the whole of university. And I was so happy that I ended up in the same job that I hoped that I would get into. But things like things have a way of unfolding itself and showing us that no, you're not there yet. So I think I'm still not there anywhere. But at that point, I let's go back to my engineering days. I told you, right, my dad wasn't too keen on sending me for a job, mainly because I was in another city. But he also wanted me to see if there are some things that I can do on my own, become an entrepreneur. And starting out and being an entrepreneur was not glamorous back then, it was scary. And I did not know anyone other than maybe like one or two college seniors of mine who actually started out. But they were also quite senior to me in age, and I felt I needed experience to start out, like let me earn some money and then start out. But he was sending me some news articles of college alumni who were in the startup ecosystem. There was this one college senior whom I did not know from college, but his startup, a technology company, got selected to a program called Startup Chile. So this is a startup program by the government of Chile. They give a grant plus they incubate the company in that country so you can expand to the Latin American market. So this was a senior of mine with his co-founders. There was a picture and it was a newspaper article. He clicked a picture, sent it to me on email because no WhatsApp back then. And he was like, look at your college senior, like learn something from these people, be like them. You don't have to go and do a job and work for someone else. You should do your own company and all that. Like, good, fine, thank you, but not right now. But I did try to figure out what the senior was doing. I searched this person on Facebook, LinkedIn, on Google. I really couldn't find much beyond a few articles and some. So I was like, famous people, they know what they're doing, blah, 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 and let it go. Then after I joined Amazon, no, during my MBA, I was hitting my 25 age mark, and everybody around me were getting married. And I felt that FOMO, like what if I don't find someone later? I need to, checklist, bucket list. That's what I said. If you are that kind of a person, you don't have, you cannot escape that. So at 25, when two of my best friends got married, I was like, maybe I need to find someone to go on a movie with, like they won't be free anymore. So maybe I'll just find someone for myself. So I used like the arranged marriage, Bharat matrimony, like Tinder, and I got onto the platform. I put on my own profile. I was like, parents, just stay away. I'll find my own guy. And I put my profile and I was searching. And then I came across this profile where he was a college senior, but I did not know this person. But very vague profile. The picture was not clear. Why is this person being quite shady? But I think I've seen this person somewhere. So I Googled the name. And lo, the same news article that my dad had sent me a couple of years back, asking me to learn from this guy. And I was like, okay, my dad asked me to learn from that guy. Let me bring him home.
This
Filmy,
is
right?
filmy.
Yeah. If you allow your life to be filmy, it will be super filmy.
Okay, so you both met, and then
he was just reached back from Chile after the Startup Chile program. So his tenure with the country was over, and he just reached back after that. We met because we are from the same college, but not. He was a couple of years senior to me, so we did not learn in the same time. But the same classroom, same teachers, everything was the same. So we had so many things to talk about. We connected well, but. I think it was on the day that he was going to come and meet me. He had sent me an international leadership program, something that was like youth leadership program that was based out of Atlanta, but some of the stuff were online. And he was like, I'm coming to meet you in a couple of hours with my family, but in the meantime, sit down and apply for this because today is the last day for it. And that was the first time I actually started looking at, understanding there are some events that are, are happening outside, which I can apply as a student or as an employee. They are like youth leadership programs. Very first thing that I came to know such things existed, or even. And I was like, come on, you're coming to meet me. Like your parents are coming to meet me. Should I sit and apply for this or wait? And it was like, we will take a couple of hours to reach there anyway. So you have to sit and apply because this is the deadline. And I was like, I don't know what I'm signing up for. But then back then I felt like this is thrilling, someone who's really investing in his time on a stranger. But we had already met, me and Sandeep, we had met in person before this. So it was not nerve-wracking for me to meet him for the second time, but meeting his family for the first time was still a big thing. But I had to sit down and apply because it was a deadline. And then we met. We had close to 1 year of so-called dating, and then we got married. But the funny part is, this program that he pushed me to apply, this is Kectil, the Atlanta program that I was part of. After this, I got selected into the program for 1 year. I was in their online leadership program. Because I was one of the most contributing young people, I was selected to be part of the 27 youth leaders to come to Atlanta. Then moving from there, regional coordinator, mentor, etc., etc. Today, I sit on the board. For the last 2 years, I am sitting on the board for the same program. So if you, as I said, if you think about it, filmy as hell, but yeah, if you just allow life to be filmy, it will be super exciting.
And you know what? For me, what is going on in my head is the Malayalam film industry, which is now like caught the imagination of the whole country, because you come up as an industry with such simple stories, but believable and possible. And I think it has caught really the fancy of the film-going audience in India.
Can I make it a film? Yeah. Let's try to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So,
this is
was your
also
work
where
still on?
yeah.
Were you still working? When did you quit Amazon? Did you join Amazon at all?
So we met when I was doing my MBA.
Correct.
Then I got married on the eve of joining Amazon. In a way, like we got married a couple of weeks later. I moved to Jaipur. He was still in Bangalore. I was working in Jaipur with Amazon. Then Kectil was going on, as in like the online program was going on. I went for the conference while I was working in Amazon. Then
Okay.
when I came back after the conference, I was covered in almost 6 national newspapers representing India for such a youth leadership program. I was invited to a lot of events where I was a speaker and speaking to parents and students, talking about such experiences. And there was this question from a parent. You studied in colleges which our kids also go to. You did the same thing as our kids do. You did not do anything special. But if you could get into such a leadership program, if you could represent India, I think my students, my child can too. How do we get to know such opportunities? We don't want to know about it when you like people like you are shown on newspaper. We want to know when the deadlines are open. This was the beginning of Avasarshala. This question actually made us think because for me, my mentor in terms of getting into these kind of programs and understanding what I can do beyond what everybody else does is Sandeep. Sandeep was his own mentor. He had his own trajectory, going to almost 28 countries on such fellowships and leadership programs. He is an amazing person, and I just learned a lot from just his guidance. I think I just had the patience to listen to him back then. Back then, but yeah, but it helped me. So we felt maybe we are the right people to do it. Like he has a lot of connections now. By then, I had close to 180 failed applications behind me because you get into one program, you understand the value of it, you start looking for more, right? So there were a couple of programs I got into, but there were also close to 180 to 200 failed applications behind me, which means I'm part of those networks also. We felt we were the right people to solve this problem for young people. We set out on that journey, and that is when I quit Amazon and created Avasarshala.
Okay. And talking about Avasarshala, was the name coined by both of you because of opportunity
Oh,
and
oh
school, and
yes.
that's how the name came together?
Yes, yes. So this was a train journey. We have a mentor, BMV, and she had helped us understand what a marketplace is. She is from US, but every year she comes to Trivandrum to have a retreat in one of the Ayurvedic centers. That's like 1 month where she cuts off from everybody and does not talk to anyone. She just goes in. Every year she does that. So we caught her just before she went into her retreat.
Yeah.
She helped us understand how marketplaces work, how our Sarshala can, evolve into a marketplace and understand the business aspect of it. So we were going back to Cochin from Trivandrum, and in a train journey, we were thinking about all the things that she talked to us about, and we were like, Avasars is opportunities, and Shala is hub. So what we're doing is a hub of opportunities. We just fell in love with the name. We coined it, and we fixed that as the name for the company. But through these years, everybody has had difficulty pronouncing that name. We have gone through 3 rounds of rebranding exercise where we brought in a lot of people, a lot of experts to think about what can be a new name. Everything has felt so blah in front of Avasarshala. We were like, we are not going to change that name. Sorry, we create new products with new names, but the company's name is just going to be Avasarshala. And AS, Ashwathy and Sandeep, for a filmy person like me, how can I let go of that?
Talking about Avasarshala as an entrepreneurial journey, Ashwati, you were pretty young yourself, and Sandeep, all through college, has been somebody who's been exploring and seeing opportunities and making the most of it. So, together, when you look back at your own entrepreneurial journey, what would you tell? Because, okay, I'm in the city, which is called the startup capital of the
Yeah.
country. And today, everyone's talking startups. So,
Mhm.
for the student community who wants to take that risk on entrepreneurship, do you think it's the best time to try, or should
Mm.
they get a little job experience and then know what startups are all about?
All right. So, as a student, as a college student, or a young adult, you always think that you are inexperienced. You
Yeah,
can't do
yeah,
it now.
yeah.
You're quite young to do such a big thing. You can't be a CEO or a founder at 18, 19. When you hit your elder age, like when
Mhm.
you actually become mature and you become an proper old, uh, you think you're quite old to do it. You
Yeah.
think if you were 18 or 19, you would have had that energy. Maybe I wouldn't have so much risks or people depending upon me. If I were younger, I would have done it. So the fact is, you're never in the right age if you don't have the right mindset. But if you have the right mindset, you always are in the right age to do it. So after starting Avasarshala, I've met a lot of students who are entrepreneurs in their school years. They start by creating small pins and badges for, like putting on the bag. They sell it on Etsy or Amazon, and they are entrepreneurs. I don't know if they are making profits, but they are actually learning finance. They are learning product, like placement, naming, selling, branding, a lot of things which they probably can't put a word to it, but by the time they're 18, they're so smart that they're just full grown adults by that time, in terms of their brain capacity. While you're in college, the best thing is you're surrounded by a lot of people who can be co-founders, or who can help you with technology, things that you are not good at. They can actually chip in, and you don't really even need to pay, while you're in college. They'll just do it because they can put it in their resume. So that is one big opportunity that college students just pass and do not understand, do not make use of it. And as I said, it helps to be self-centered. If you understand you want to be an entrepreneur, then you have to go out and seek out people who can help you in that way. When you are an adult, you actually have the financial backing to do it, right? Now you've grown into a person who has world experience. You know people. You are the person who knows very talented people. You want an iOS app. You want to make an Android app. People who code in iOS or in Android. You can probably just give them a small stipend or promise them to pay when you are actually launching a company. And there are really talented people in your network who can do it. So I think there are opportunities in every age group. It's just your mindset. So, like people who are listening in, if you think you're old, no, you're still young to do a company. You have what your youth did not have. You have the money, you have the experience, you have the network. For young people listening in, you will not feel that you have become, mature enough to start a company ever. You will just feel you're old that you can't. So now is the time.
Okay, now that you brought mindset and you're the right person to ask this question, what does it take to have the entrepreneurial mindset? How would you define the mindset?
Mindset. Entrepreneurship is not easy. It is not easy at all. It looks glamorous from outside, but sometimes we're just holding it together and we don't know from where we're getting that energy. And there are days when we feel like just throwing it all away and running away, which is also fine. That's what I've understood so far. Entrepreneurship is a mindset. It's not just about your company. It's not about holding a big ego and showing people that your company is flourishing. The fact is, no one cares. That's one big thing I learned. People seem to think as if, like you think they care, they are watching, and you can't fail because people will pass judgments. But the fact is, they have their own life and they have their own failures to deal with. They probably will judge you for a minute or so. They might reach out to you and ask you what happened to your company. I'm not seeing any LinkedIn post recently. I'm not seeing anything on Instagram. What happened to your company? Is it dead already? Sometimes that is all, like they just spend 1 or 2 minutes to ask those questions, but your day is ruined, your week is ruined, and you're like, oh my God, does this mean like this is end for my entrepreneurial journey? But yeah, like it happens, it still happens. Even when I'm talking about this can happen to me next week or maybe the month later. Last week, I was asked this question. I had taken a time out personally from LinkedIn to just not post anything. I think I posted something and I just closed the app and I've not gone back to it for the last 2 weeks. Intentionally, I took a break. But last week, I got asked this question. I'm not seeing you post on LinkedIn about anything. What has happened to you? And I'm like, nothing. I'm here. I'm actually, I'm traveling and I'm here. But people can ask a lot of questions, but that shouldn't affect you. So entrepreneurial mindset is just about being resilient and being understanding what you are doing, to have a control or have a little bit of discipline on what you want to be doing. Second thing is not to actually fear failure, but failure, when we are on the topic of failure, can I speak a little bit more on that and deviate? Yeah. So there was always a thing that one of my mentors, as well as friend, Ardra Chandramouli, she's another entrepreneur. she had always told me, failure is something that it's always about how you define failure.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that for you. Nobody else should do that for you. If you think failure is, wrapping up your company, then that is it. You think you have failed. But if you think that, no, that was a learning, maybe that is something that I can take back and, apply in my next venture. Or even when if you're going back to work, you've brought up all these experiences, life experiences into your new role. That is still not failure. So it's just exactly a mindset. It's just how you define failure. And back then, when she taught me all these things, I never really understood the gravity of it. It was not easy for me to, digest it, because I was going on, no, I have to do this, I have to do that. Nobody can talk to me about failure right now. But over the years, I've learned it. I think now I understand what she really meant by defining failure. So, as an entrepreneur, it is always the mindset, have resilience, B, understand when to pull the plug for a company or an idea, when to pivot. Do not hurt yourself and do not hurt your company by persisting something that you logically or like practically understand needs a little bit of change. Do not get married to your idea. Do not get married to your company even. Do not get married to your ego. As an entrepreneur, you get invited to a lot of places to speak and talk. And sometimes when you are not quite active on social media, you will feel that people are not really seeing you and they don't remember you. That's fine. I mean, sometimes you get back into limelight again. So all these things happen. And I mean, as an entrepreneur, it takes a lot of energy to deal with all these things. It's not the same as when you are working in a corporate company. Here, when people say that you are your own boss, it also means that you have to be in control of your own emotions, and you have to be a little bit more, answerable to your own downs and ups. So understand that things happen, and it may not be a failure in your personal life. Do not call it a failure. Do not even think that things are going to go to an end, full stop over here. Things will keep coming up. And as it is a mindset, even if you go back to a job, even if you take a pause, you're still an entrepreneur. You know that you will figure out a way to, come back, get back on track, or maybe start a new company. So look at it as a journey. And I'll just take one more second dwelling on this. I just met a very good friend of mine who launched herself into entrepreneurship just a month or so back. She's full of energy as in envious amount of energy. And sitting near her, I felt like she's this radiating sun, like just glowing and wants to do a lot of things. Reminded me of me 2 years back, when I thought everything was possible in my, like if I just keep at it, everything is possible. After these even 2.5 years, what I know is everything is still possible, but you really don't have to burn yourself out. You can just, take your time, be comfortable with who you are, and still achieve everything. I think I learned this in a different way while I was in my college, but I still did not try and apply the same learnings when I became an entrepreneur. It was still a learning curve for me, and I wish my friend has the same energy. But the fact is, even if she hits that hump, I'll be there to tell her that it's okay. It's still sunny on the other side.
Yeah. And talking about that position that you're taking, you just said that you'll be there for her. For an entrepreneur, there needs to be a whole village to support. And the village can comprise mentors, coaches, parents. Support system can come from anywhere. Anybody can be part of the support system. So who were part of your support system to help you? Because you defined failure. Very often what we ask people is the definition of success. And I think it's so important to understand the definition of failure. So it need not be that the exact opposite of that is what success is, because success again is very personal. What is success for one need not be success for another person at all. So we won't go to that obvious question, the logical question of, okay, if this is failure, then what is your definition of success? But who was that? And what was that group comprised of, which was there to hold your back when you were going through your tough times?
So I will still touch upon the success failure part. Some not as a definition, but sometimes when your company is doing so good and you have launched a product, people are actually talking about it in newspapers, everyone would feel that, hey, this person has become very successful. But internally inside your company, you as an entrepreneur, as a person, you might be dealing with something difficult. Maybe it is in terms of, maybe you're not able to lead your team. Maybe you're not able to inspire yourself to get up after doing such a big task and you're just worn out and tired. So you can still feel like a failure even when the world thinks that you have become successful and you've reached there. On the flip side, you might be radio silent, you might not be on newspapers, you might not be actually talking about it on LinkedIn, but maybe you're working on a very, very secret, passionate project, or maybe you're just taking time to build something very new. You may seem like a failure from outside because people can't figure out what you're doing right now, but internally, probably that's the most successful you've ever felt. So it is always you and your own feeling on what you're doing right now and how okay you are with what you're doing right now. If you allow other people to actually, or rather, if you start looking at yourself from other people's eye, that's going to be a very difficult thing for you, because no one is actually going to come up and tell you that, hey, I think you're a failure right now. But it's always our own perceptions. You just think, okay, what does this person think of me? Does that person think I'm a failure now? And you just start eating your own brain. So this is my experience. It probably is the experience with a lot of people out there, but this is what usually happens.
Ashwathy, so I'll just use the same point that you just said.
Yeah.
You define success is something which is very personal as well, as much as failure.
Yeah.
So it is not on validation from the world outside. So both failure and success are mindsets. And
mindset internal.
And it's completely internal. It's not the external world that decides it for you.
No. You can give your co-founder or people who are inside the company a little bit of liberty to define success and failure for the company. But when it comes to you as a founder, you as an entrepreneur, that is a very different thing altogether. Like I'm coming from a space where me and my husband, we are the co-founders, but still as an entrepreneur, when I'm defining my own success or failure, even the opinions of a company or the people in my company, my husband or him as a co-founder, will not really matter about what I feel about my own journey. This is where we should draw a line, like it should always be, as I keep saying, self-centered, be self-centered. It is not, I'm not talking about it in a very negative way, but always have that internal dialogue going. You should just introspect and see what is going. And it has not been easy for me to actually allow myself to be, or how do you say? I used to feel it's selfish of me to take my own space and time. Sometimes you just get carried away and then you don't think it is right to do that. But I have taken a lot of energy and effort to become this person that I feel, okay, I can also take my own space. It is not bad to be self-centered. It is not selfish to be self-centered. It's a journey that everybody else will probably encounter in their path. And coming back to your question, Rashmi, about who are the people around. Beautiful thing about entrepreneurship is there are people who are going through the same journey, the same sort of problems around you. Even when they are the so-called competitors in the same space, they are ready to collaborate. They are ready to help you out. They're ready to lend a mentor or two. They are ready to be a mentor themselves. I'm so in love with the entrepreneurial ecosystem, because no matter how much millions they are making, no matter if they're just an idea stage entrepreneur, they all feel like they're equals and they're in this journey together. Because at every stage we'll figure out there is one more problem we need to solve. So you never feel like you've accomplished or you've reached somewhere. So I've made friends with people who are like the best gemstone mining people of Zambia, and the best people who are in the beverages segment. I would say the best in the country. But I've also made friends with people who are student entrepreneurs, and I still feel like I'm learning so much from them as well. So this is an area where we get a spectrum of friends and people who are ready to just be very honest and help. I'm being very transparent and open in hopes that there is at least one person who's listening in and probably feel like, hey, okay, it's not just me. So I'm doing this because I've encountered a lot of entrepreneurs in my life who had been so open from the day one. They've not been guarded, they've not been selfish. They've just shown me how it is for them to be an entrepreneur, how it would be for me. And you can just seek out help if you want to. That has been the motto, that they have been too kind to me, so that's the reason I'm kind to everyone else too. And then there are a couple of entrepreneurs who I look up as mentors, like I mentioned Ardra. There are a lot of other people, even when they are going through their highs and lows, they had time for me. They were like, hey, see, something is wrong, something is going on in my life, and this is how I'm seeking out help. Maybe you should too if you are encountering such a problem. It's okay to seek out help. And then there were people like coaches. And I'm looking at one of them who came into my life when I thought maybe there were like few things that I wanted to correct. There were a few things I felt is not going right. And then I was lucky enough to have people like Rashmi come into my life and actually show me things, very bitter truth, very hard truth about myself. And so this is an interesting conversation we had, Rashmi, right? How I probably felt coaching did not help me, and how it shouldn't be the way. It was not the way I imagined. Yeah. That was because back then I was quite naive to think that coaches come with a band-aid, and they just, oh, here is your wound. Let me just stick a band-aid. You will be good to go in a couple of days. No, it's not how it works. Sometimes all coaches do is help you uncover some layers of yourself that you've been ignoring. Sometimes they just allow you to go to the past and figure out some of the learnings that I probably missed out and stopped adapting into my life later. Sometimes they might just open up some really uncomfortable things about yourself, which you are not ready to actually accept at that stage of life. But it's an open wound that would really allow you to sit and ponder later. Maybe it will heal with you later, and then you realize, oh yeah, that was an uncomfortable conversation I had back then, but now I realize why I had it and why it was important to me. So conversation with people like Rashmi, coaches that come to our life, they don't usually fix anything that apparently broken. They probably show you that there are a few things that you can work upon. They won't even define it as things are broken that you need to fix. It's just that they'll just show you some direction, some things about yourself, and in a very hands-off way, which may feel a little intimidating to someone who thinks that, hey, someone is here to help me, and then you're like, oh no, I have to help myself. But they just show you the path to reach there. So that has been my relationship with coaching. I did not like it initially. I did not like the whole concept of coaching. It was quite uncomfortable for a person like me. But all the conversations, all the poignant, moments that we uncovered that day stuck with me for the months and years coming later. There were moments which it kind of pushed me, and they're like, no way, I'm not doing that again. But it later, just unravels in front of you, and we are like, oh yeah, now I get it. Now I really get it. So no conversation is not useful. It is always going to come of use, or always going to pan out to be something more beautiful later. So as an entrepreneur, seek out help if required. That is one thing that I know now. Coaches are there to help you. If you are going through some very difficult mental, rough patches, seek out therapy if required. Seek out mentors and have informal conversations with mentors. Do not feel guarded. Do not think that you're bearing yourself as a person and they're just going to use it against you later. No, they have better things to do. So they will not use that against you. So be more open to your mentor. Be more open to seeking out their help. Reach out to other entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs, new entrepreneurs, people who are going through your same journey. Just have conversations. Just also help out. If they are going through something, just help them out. They'll help you out later. Yeah. So being open and just letting your ego just sit on the side while you're trying to figure out yourself is the best way to be.
Wow. The authentic Ashwathy and the honest entrepreneur that you are, sharing very openly about the downs. Now, Ashwathy, looking back, you've had a very beautiful journey as well, with a lot of highs, which you haven't shared. But I'm sure in those lot, there are certain milestones that stand out for you. So,
Yeah.
are there any of those milestones that you look back with a smile and pride together?
Yeah. So, Rashmi, as you pointed out, I've been talking about all the failures and the lows, right? That's because it's not something that people usually are comfortable talking about. And people who usually want to listen to other people, they don't want to know their successes because it may not mean anything to them, but they always want to know when the dark times were, how did they navigate it. So, this is what I would have wanted to listen from someone who's sharing about their life. And that's why I'm being so open and so real about it, which does not mean that, as you said, no highs, super highs. We've had super highs, and we still are going through a good time in the company. The company launched in 2020 when we officially registered in 2020, and we had a few couple of months where we were all gung ho about it, and we're like, we'll do that, we'll do this, and then COVID hit, and then the whole ecosystem just toppled on its head. But we were having the same, like that open mindset, which allowed us to understand what are the scenario changes required in our company right now. How can we change the product to fit into what is the new normal? And it was a good time for us in terms of how we navigated the pandemic. Post pandemic, we also had a double trouble. Ecosystem changed again, but also the edtech market just plummeted. Edtech as a market plummeted mainly because investors felt that they should not be investing in startups which are in the edtech ecosystem anymore. As a company which is bootstrapped primarily, we did not seek out investments. We're still not seeking out investments. But the point is, in all programs or on some like coaching events, or maybe it's even like cohorts, they excluded edtech companies. Like, that was not even there in the categories that they expected. So suddenly a lot of doors were being shut because they just decided that we don't need edtech entrepreneurs here anymore. And that has been the case in 2022 and well into 2023. And by 2023, I kind of stopped actually, I was desensitized to the fact. And by late 2023, I started seeing that many other programs, they were okay, they slowly started acknowledging edtech companies. So worst time ever was probably this 2022 to 2023, which also helped us figure out more ways to reinvent and stay afloat. A lot of my friends who are other edtech entrepreneurs, they either sold off their companies or closed off during the post-pandemic period, not the pandemic, post-pandemic period. Thank God we did not have to do that. We are still there. We are still generating revenue. And the way we did business back in 2022 is not how we are doing right now. So I am so happy that we have evolved. I would say that is the biggest milestone, even more than all the other accolades that we received. But if looking at the materialistic things, we've always been covered blessed with newspaper coverages. We have been covered in television as well as radio. I am a TEDx speaker, so I've got so many other platforms like TEDx to speak about my story, to connect with other young people, to talk to parents who are, like potential customers for us. We've had corporate connections. I would be invited as a speaker, and then they feel that this is something that they can implement in their company, and then we would end up getting a very good business from them. So those are like really good for us. Then also there, I don't know how relevant it is for people now, but then there was this whole verified blue tick in Instagram, right? So I also got a verified profile, which helped me reach out to more audience in terms of who I was and my conversations, etc. So yeah, I mean, there were a lot of milestones, many awards that we received. Best is getting recognized as a woman entrepreneur, for someone who really did not like this tag of woman with anything, where I'm like, hey, I can be anything, man or woman. Why are you calling me a woman entrepreneur? But I think that is only if you are called a woman entrepreneur, only then other women entrepreneurs take note of it. I was blessed with a lot of role models as women role models that I can look up to. So yeah, I think I am wearing it like a big honor when someone calls me a woman entrepreneur now.
Love this, especially from the journey of not being the girl vice captain, but captain to the woman entrepreneur journey.
Exactly. You know what? I actually did not write the ISRO. Okay, so I'm going on record saying this, but I did not want to write the ISRO exam because it was free for women. They did not ask for a registration fee for women. And I decided I'm not going to write that exam because, see, why? I did not understand the whole concept back then. But then, if a guy was asked to pay money to write that exam, I can also pay. I should also be paying. Why are they taking away that choice from me to pay for the registration?
Yeah, that is because you can
Exam?
afford to pay. But if
Exactly.
it's the reason
That
why
is
other women did not want
exactly. See, that is exactly my personal growth from being in a space where I felt like I was being discriminated against by being called a woman and, being put into the category of a woman. Now I realize that it is required that a lot of people get that opportunity, get that space, because it's not easy to create that space for ourselves. So
Yeah.
that's my personal growth journey. If you
Awesome.
really ask it that way.
This has been a beautiful growth, because from that girl who had a checklist so early in life to the woman entrepreneur that you're very proudly wearing on your sleeve now, it truly has been a remarkable journey.
It is.
And you started when the world literally shut down. 2020
Exactly.
March was when the world shut down, and forcefully, not by choice. Your journey began then as an entrepreneur. So, for all practical reasons, you took the toughest point when the globe was wondering what to do next to take this
Yeah.
very important journey. Every one of us has learned a lot from the pandemic. What
Yeah.
have your reflections been from the pandemic?
For me, biggest thing is when you are in such a space where you can't move forward, that is when you become innovative. So the point where you get highly uncomfortable and you feel like, oh my God, what is happening right now? That is when you start. Uh, it's a struggle to survive, maybe, but that is when you become truly innovative. And that has been the case for us. When we are comfortable, when we think that there is nothing, that's actually no external forces are limiting us, we've been quite slow and comfortable and just gliding through. But pandemic, it was I mean, I still feel like pandemic was a claustrophobic period for me. I think that was also one of the times when we had our conversation, Rashmi, back then. I was struggling in terms of not getting enough people energy. So my company was doing very well. In fact, that was the best time we could actually, point out to in terms of innovating, launching new products. But as I said, as a founder, I was finding it very difficult. So if you would ask me, are you successful right now? I probably was not. Back then, I was trying very hard to understand how to sit at home 24/7 and just build a company from home. It was quite difficult for me. I needed to go to the mall. I needed to stand in like on the road and just seek out strangers, people energy, just draw from them. But yeah, I mean that was a difficult period for me. But also it was like closing into your company. Like a lot of things just changed. The way people make purchases changed. We were vying with YouTube and cartoons for a child's time. It was no longer competing with another kid's product. We were vying for their time from such giants like content creators. So that was a big paradigm shift for us. I like that word paradigm shift because that was exactly what happened. But I was a new entrepreneur. I just started my entrepreneurial journey a couple of months before the COVID set in. So it was easy for me to step into that, like this is how we are doing business now, it's fine and all that. I think it was not that easy for Sandeep because he was a second time entrepreneur. He already had very, very successful stint in tech entrepreneurship, and that too, like going around the world and just being everywhere. So you should ask him how difficult it was for him. But I think we just we were innovating every day. That's how I would put it. When the times change, we would be like, hey, let's do this instead of that, and we were not afraid to fail. So that's how we dealt with pandemic.
I know you're very young. With the limited life and experiences that you've had at your age, many of us much older may not have had. So the final question, 3 life lessons that you'd like to leave us with?
Now, one is I'm currently going through a phase where I'm taking it quite easy and slow. Second time in my life, I would say, where I'm like it's Rashmi knows this, but I'm just putting it out there for the audience. I was part of a conference in Zambia. I'm just coming back from Zambia for this conference. So I'm on the board for this program, Kectil, and we have a conference, regional conference that happened in India in January, and then one again in Zambia. So I got a chance to interact with so many budding entrepreneurs, established entrepreneurs in Zambia, and meet up with a couple of my friends who are also on the board. And while I was in Zambia, one thing I realized is they just take life quite easy. And the time, I mean, like we have something called African time, where people just take enormous amount of time to even show up for an event. So the first couple of days were quite difficult for me because I'm a stickler for time, and I'm like, no, this is not how it works. But slowly Zambia grew into me, and then they showed me that it is okay. It is just okay to be, just okay to be. That is the word. So this has been our motto. All the friends that were there, the board members that were there in Zambia, we keep reminding ourselves even after we came back from Zambia, it is okay, and everything will turn out to be okay, and everything will be all right at the end. So sometimes we just need to remind ourselves that maybe that is my first life lesson. It is okay. It is just okay, and sometimes it's all right. That's my first life lesson. Second is maybe you're all quite busy and like you're caught up in some stuff that you're doing right now. You have lots of energy, but there will also be a time when this energy dips, and then you will have to figure out ways to bring back that sort of energy, especially in the case of entrepreneurs. One stray comment, one small negative feedback, that's all it takes for us to just go into that downtime. But always look back into your own experiences. There will be something or the other that you have gone through in your small life that will help you figure out how to navigate this time. So for me, it took me a lot of time to realize this, but when I was in my school, I had also gone through such a low time. When I got in my college, I realized that it is okay. I can let go and just be. But when I became an entrepreneur, I still did not remember these lessons, but it took me some time, 2.5 years, and I'm like, okay, all right. I mean, like there will be magic at the end. I can still take time. So you've already gone through such stuff in your life. You've already seen someone else go through it. So just look back, and your answers are already there. The third thing is it's okay to reach out and get people to help you. It's not, do not let ego come in your way of opening up and sharing about your life journey, listening to people and taking in some things that you can take into your life, accepting mentors and their wisdom. Sometimes it may not be very correct. You can take in what works for you at that moment. Maybe it will come for your help later, but it's always good to build your network. And when I say network, go out, meet people, talk to people, and keep them in your network, because they are the ones who are going to give you some sort of in any form, be it when you're in your most highest high or your lowest low, they will know how to help you out. And people like Rashmi Shetty, I can't actually reiterate this more. There will be some time in your life when you will need someone else to, like take a look from outside and just help you figure it out. And maybe the right time for their seeking out their help, maybe it will come out some other, like it will pan out in some other way or form. But do not dispel anything that's coming your way. Just hold on to it. And when it's the right time, it will help you. So be open to seek out other people and their wisdom and help that form your life, because everyone has seen it and done it in one way or the other. So, you don't really have to reinvent the wheel. You can actually, take it and use it.
And be completely innovative in how you're using the wheel. And
Exactly.
wishing you all the very best, and Sandeep the very best too, for carrying on this journey of creating opportunities that are out there and making sure the right people get knowledge of it, use it, and find their own understandings of success. I loved your definitions, Ashwathy, and it's always been a pleasure catching up. Your journey is truly inspirational. Shine on, stay blessed, and continue inspiring who look up to you and wish they were you. All the very best, and take care.
With that, we complete this episode of You and I with Rashmi Shetty. Do let us know if you know inspirational people whose story needs to be heard. You can write in at rashmi.thethirdeye@gmail.com. That is rashmi.thirdeye@gmail.com.